Artists, now that we have finished our weaving, we are going to turn it into a placemat for a picnic lunch. So what I want you to think about is your favorite food, and I want you to think about how it would look on a plate. We want it to look like a bird's eye view. So what that means is we don't want to draw our food the way that we would see it sitting on a plate if we were sitting on the floor with it. We would want to draw our food the way that we would see it if we were a bird flying overhead. So I printed out some pictures of some bird's eye view food that you could draw on a plate, but I want you to think of a favorite food. And you're going to have a piece of paper and you're going to have a paper plate, and I want you to try to trace that paper plate so that you can get a nice circle to cut out. And you may have to make sure that your paper plate is lined up on the edges so that you get all of the edges. So if I look here, I did pretty good. It fit on there pretty good, so I'd say that that's all set. This is going to be our plate. And when we are using our plate, I want you to think about the fact that most plates kind of have a divot or a shadow. So when you are drawing your plate, you may want to just follow that circle that you've already done to kind of make it look like you have that part of your plate that's kind of set down inside. So I'm going to make sure that I don't draw anything outside of that line to help me look like it's a paper plate. And this paper plate actually does have some bird's eye view food on it. So I want you to think about what you want to draw on your paper for your favorite food. And I actually think that I want to do a watermelon. So I'm going to take a minute and draw a slice of watermelon on my plate. Now that I've drawn my watermelon, I can decide if I have room for any more fruits or vegetables or picnic food that I might want to draw. I could even draw a cherry, a couple of cherries. I have room for that, and I think I'm going to do that. Now, sometimes when we have a picnic lunch, we might need silverware to help us eat our food. If I was eating cherries or a slice of watermelon, I would maybe want a fork. If I was eating something that would need a spoon, I could draw a spoon. I'm going to draw myself a fork over here in my extra paper area. And I can look at this example here. It almost looks like a square. If I draw this one, it almost looks like a square on the top. And then if I go inside, I can draw my forks. And I think I just want to do 4 lines here. It looks like I have some extra space that I can get rid of. And then I need my handle of my fork to come down. I can erase that extra. Now I can add color. So I can either use markers or colored pencils to add color. I'm going to try to keep my plate white because I want my plate to stand out on my placemat. And I'm maybe going to leave my fork white because I know that if I had a plastic fork at the picnic, it might be white. Now that I have colored in my food, I can go ahead and take a black marker and I can outline the rest of my pencil lines before cutting out my plate and my fork. When I was looking at my paper plate, I thought about the fact that some paper plates have a pattern on them. So I think I'm going to do a pattern just on the outside lip of the plate, but I want to leave the inside white. Now that your plate and your silverware has been cut out, you can add it to your placemat. And I want you to pick a good spot to add onto your placemat. And remember, when we glue, we remember 5 words, which are dot, dot, not a lot. So when you're gluing your plate, we don't want too much glue. Dot, dot, not a lot. Dot, dot, not a lot. Dot, dot, not a lot. And if we do some dots around the outside edge and then just a few more on the inside, dot, dot, not a lot, that should be plenty of glue to stick our plate onto our placemat. And then if you decided to do silverware, same thing, dot, dot, not a lot. My silverware doesn't need very much glue because it's a much smaller piece of paper. Now you have just created a paper weaving that you turned into